The Thin Gray Line collection brought to you exclusively by LEOChallengeCoins.com. Collect pins, challenge coins, medallions, emblems, patches, and more at LEOChallengeCoins.com. Visit www.LEOChallengeCoins.com.
Girl, you're being played by the inmates' games. And that's not only for the girls, some of you guys are being played also. Hi, I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe if you like this video. Today I want to talk about the games inmates play with relationships, because many inmates just want to get money on the books, get their phone turned on, have someone to write to them, and have a place to go live when they get out of prison. And by the way, this is not just for the men and women who are on the streets, but this happens with some of our men and women who wear the uniform or work as civilians within the prison. They get conned by the inmates into believing that the inmates really love them. Now, are there cases where one of these relationships will actually work out and they live happily ever after? I don't know about happily ever after, but I can say that there are a very, very few, the percentage is very low on these inmate relationships that work out. Now, many people are already married when one of the spouses goes into the prison, so that relationship can continue. But let's talk about some of the games inmates play to make you believe they're falling in love with you. I've done several investigations, not several, but quite a few investigations in a 12-year span where inmates have written love letters to women on the streets, and an inmate in many cases has written more than one lady, and they got caught by mixing up the letters and sending the letter in the wrong envelope to the wrong woman. When she found out, she contacted the Inspector General's office, and this woman, as others have done in the past, have reported that they're being conned for their money and their time and going out to visit the inmate. Well, we can investigate that, and we can look at extortion by the inmate. We can send it to the state attorney's office, but that does not mean that they will prosecute, and in most cases they won't. So you have to be very careful on what you do. If you choose to go along with the inmate and believe that the inmate is going to come out of prison and be with you and marry you and you're going to live happily ever after, then we cannot fix that. We can't help you in that. We can do an investigation and send it off, as I said, but that's the best we can do for you. And in most cases, as I said, the state attorney will not prosecute the inmate for extortion unless we can prove, like in one case, 20 different females sending money to the inmate. Okay, of course they did not get their money back after the investigation. How is he going to repay all these women that he loves and these 20 women that he is going to get out of prison and live with for the rest of his life? Because he has no money to pay it back. So maybe he catches a charge, but in most cases he won't. So listen, you have to be careful, all right? Because inmates are players, many of them are players, and it comes straight, the chronicles straight out of prison. Turn my phone back on. Baby, I love you. Please turn my phone back on. Put money in my books. When I get out of prison, I will be there for you 100%. I'm going to get a good job this time. I am going to work hard. I'm going to provide for you. Now, I know for a fact there are people out there that have believed this, and when the inmate got out of jail or prison, this did not come true. This fairy tale did not come true. The relationship then broke off, and the inmate moved on to his next victim. And I say victim because the men and women who fall for the inmate I love you game are victims. But you need to be careful. You need to be smarter. You need to have common sense. Look at the big picture. Look at the inmate's past history. Is there a future? I know there are many people out there that want to change the inmate. He will change. She will change. Well, it can happen. It has happened. I'm not going to deny that. But are you willing to take the risk and be the 1 out of 10 that is lucky enough to find an inmate that changes? Okay? Many just want a roof over their head. They are dependopotamus. I'm using some quotes from some people that I saw that made comments on a post I made the other day in relationship to this topic we're talking about today. Dependopotamus. I put it right at the top here so you can see it. Someone who depends on the spouse to do all the work and put the roof over their head and put food in their mouth and give them a few dollars to go play during the day while they're out working to keep this person happy and satisfied. After a while, people get tired of that and they will leave the relationship. And if you don't, I'm sorry for you. There's nothing we can do for you in that. And please don't come crying to the officials when your money is all gone, when your food is all gone, when you are left high and dry. This is just a friendly warning. I'm not trying to be mean, but the truth is the truth. You're gambling. 1 out of 10 possibly will stick around and become the man or the woman you want them to be. So play at your own risk, gamble at your own risk, and take your own chances, but don't blame the officials when you come out on the losing end. Okay? These inmates are always looking for ways to get money in their account. I mean, I've listened to phone calls over and over and over when I was a prison inspector of inmates. Talking to the wife, honey, please send me money. I love you so much. Thank you, I love you, I miss you. And then hang up and call the girlfriend and say, honey, I love you so much. I need money on the books. I love you. And yes, I'm leaving my wife when I get out of prison. You're the only one for me. And then at visitation, how many have seen different women visiting different inmates? How many have experienced 2 women showing up for visit at the same time and then getting in an argument with each other? Yes, it happens frequently. But you want to continue to be the one and only and believe you're the one and only? In some cases you will be, but in most cases you won't. Here's one that will hurt. You finish visiting the man or the woman who says, you will be the only one for me, I love you, and when I get out we will live happily ever after, and the visitation is over and they go to their lover on the prison compound. That lover could be a staff member, civilian or uniform, or it could be another inmate. Happens very, very frequently. So you're playing at your own risk. Don't like to see people get hurt. I've had to investigate and interview women who were hurt, crying during the interview because they thought they were the only one, and they learned there were so many more that were sending money to their beloved lover, the man who was going to keep care of them when he got out of prison. Now, what about the ones on probation? They get out of prison, they're on probation, they have no place to go, no place to live. So they hit the nightclubs or the bars or anywhere, maybe just a coffee shop, and they run into a woman and they fall in love immediately. It's love at first sight, and you are the one and only until they find something that they feel is better and they move on to the next victim. Now listen, folks, the truth hurts and it cuts deeply. And for those of you in uniform falling in love with inmates, this should be, I don't even know why I'm talking to you. This should be a no-brainer, because you see the things I just talked about. You hear the telephone calls between the inmates. You hear what the inmates are saying to their one and only lover at visitation or on the phone. And you see this, and you still fall for the inmate manipulation and get conned by the inmate and fall in love with the inmate. And now you believe you're the only one. And then you start bringing in contraband, maybe cigarettes, maybe food. And then it builds to drugs because you love this inmate so much and you know they're going to stay with you. And you get caught and arrested and placed in jail. You go home, you've lost your certification as an officer, you're no longer an officer, and now the inmate gets out of prison because you've been visiting the inmate now that you're no longer an officer at the prison he's at or she's at. And they get out of prison and you're so happy, and the inmate comes to stay with you and you provide and put a roof over their head, and then poof, one day you come home and they're gone. They're gone, they're not there anymore, and they're not there for you. Why? They found another victim. Anyway, just a few things to try to juggle the mind for anybody who wants to have a relationship with an inmate. Investigate very closely. If you're in the free world, no one's stopping you from having a relationship with an inmate, either by visitation or letters, as long as everything's on the up and up. No one's stopping you from that. But when you get hurt and come crying to the officials, we'll investigate and we'll do a report. But you're not going to get much out of the person who can't give you anything. It's that simple. And for any staff member that falls in love with an inmate, well, I wish I could feel sorry for you, but I don't. Because you knew. You knew from the beginning this person had nothing to give to you. I know you wanted the true, deep love. That's all you wanted. Just the true, deep love. It's not the money. It's not if they have anything. It's the true, real love that goes away as soon as they get out of prison, or as soon as they're done with you, or as soon as you get caught in the relationship with them. I'm sorry to break the bad news to everybody today that has dealt with an inmate relationship, and I pray for you, and I hope that everything works out for you, but I can only warn you. That's all we can do. Thanks a lot, Gary York, True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.